Today, I don't think anybody's going anywhere.
We did receive an increased number of calls overnight as a result of the weather.
The roads are pretty empty and it's a great afternoon.
Hello and welcome to KGW News at 5 and our coverage of the winter storm hitting Portland. The end is in sight, but not until we go through several more hours of ice and snow. Planes, trains, and automobiles shut down, iced in with frigid temperatures, and travelers stranded out there for the holiday. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Brittany Folkers.
And I'm David Moko. Let's get right to full team coverage this evening across our region, looking at road conditions, an update from the airport, and of course, the very latest on the forecast.
Now let's start with our Catherine Cook, who is out on the roads for us tonight. Catherine, how's it looking? Where are you at?
Hey, Brittany. Well, I'd like to cordially invite you to take a drive down the 205 bridge with me here, heading south back into Oregon. Let me flip the camera so you guys can see. Here we go. All right. So you can see definitely some packed, I don't know, sleet. There's ice, a little bit of snowy mix. But again, as Matt has been telling us, who knows what this precipitation is. It's just white and it's slick. You can see up ahead of us, though, looks like there's been a vehicle that's disabled. They've got their hazards on. Folks outside the vehicle. Looks pretty dangerous. Oh gosh, looks like it was an accident. Hope they're okay. And that's just one example of how these roads are still slick. They are still dangerous, especially moving downhill if you don't have an all-weather four-wheel drive or studded tire vehicle. And approaching down here at the airport way exit, you can see there are several cars that are doing pretty well, but again, it's touch and go. I would not advise being out, especially if you're going to be on any side streets that haven't been treated, unless you have a good vehicle with those amendments to them. So let's flip it back over. Again, we've been up in Camas where they have several treated roads. Others are a thick sheet of ice. It really just depends on your elevation, where you are. But if, as Matt has been mentioning, the temperatures could drop down even lower. We could have. So the key here to emphasize, as have been the last 48 hours, is just stay off the road if you can. We'll send it back to you guys.
You hear it there from a team that's been on those roads for the last 24 hours. Stay off if you can. A little bit of an update here. I-5 northbound Clark County. This is mile 18 East Fork Bridge. Jackknife semi-blocking lanes. The Astoria-Megler Bridge between Oregon and Washington was closed, then it was open. Now it is closed again. So you get a sense of how these conditions are changing really minute to minute, place to place.
Yeah, definitely. So like we've been saying, if you don't have to be on the road, just stay off. There's a lot of people trying to fly for the holidays. So that's been a really big, tricky one. Lots of cancellations in and out of PDX, and Alaska Airlines scrapping all flights here for the rest of the day.
Now let's bring in Cale Williams at the airport tonight. Cale, you were there yesterday as well. What does the mood feel like? How many people are there and how many have just given up and gone home?
Well, it's definitely a lot quieter here tonight than it was last night, and I think a lot of people got the message that it is much easier to rebook a canceled flight from the comfort of your own home. But for people visiting who are unable to do that, we spoke to several of them and heard a few sentiments over and over again.
Chaotic. It's been really hectic.
It's so crazy right now.
That was the sentiment among nearly everyone trying to fly out of Portland, as an icy storm here and more weather chaos at airports across the country grounded hundreds of flights. Alaska Airlines, with hubs in Seattle and Portland, was among the hardest hit. Sydney Burgess, in town with her boyfriend for his birthday, found out early Friday that her flight home to LA on Alaska wouldn't be leaving.
So we started panicking.
Alaska put out a statement advising customers that, due to very full flights over the next several days, it is likely to take multiple days to accommodate guests who need new flights. Our contact centers are experiencing long hold times as they try to help thousands of guests. So when Burgess called to rebook,
It was like a five and a half hour wait for customer service.
Eventually, she came to the airport hoping she could get a flight face-to-face. She did manage to book a ticket, but not until Sunday.
Today, I don't think anybody's going anywhere.
Lisa and Dave Pargis were trying to get to Fairbanks, Alaska to visit family for the holiday. They found out Thursday that their Friday morning flight was canceled, and it wouldn't be the last time. Alaska would end up canceling all of its flights out of Portland for the rest of the day.
Wasn't really realizing at the time that, that could just be the first cancellation. There could be another one. And at what point do you just cut it loose and say, we just stay here?
The couple thought something like that could happen, though, and they planned for the worst.
We booked a room for tonight just in case. If they cancel, then we'll just go back there.
Erica McCoy had come to the airport Thursday night with plans to catch a flight to Iceland, where she was hoping to catch a glimpse of the Northern Lights for Christmas. Like so many others, it wasn't meant to be. But getting another flight turned out to be just one of the hurdles, as she scrambled to find a place to stay.
There's just a mad dash of people scrambling to book hotel rooms for this flight that they missed. You're just watching them disappear as you're trying to book them. It's just a race of everybody on the same flight trying to get a room for the night.
As of midday Friday, it appeared her luck had turned.
We got boarding passes, we've got hopefully seats, so if when we get in the air it's just hope at this point.
Now, we checked, and McCoy's flight was one of a very small handful that was actually able to take off from here today, but she was one of the lucky few. We talked to many other people who were looking at spending an unexpected Christmas here in Portland because there are just no seats on any of the flights that are taking off for several days. Some people aren't leaving it until Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Big challenges and a big travel headache for so many people out there. You know, we were talking to an Alaska representative not too long ago. They said de-icing the planes usually takes 15 minutes, taking 90 minutes to 2 hours. And that's why they said it's just too dangerous to fly.
And talking about their ramp staff on the ground, their low tag, it's just too dangerous to even walk over. So this helps explain some of it. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino. Now, Matt, for our viewers who are just joining us, give us a sense. Is this over first, and then when can we expect it to kind of melt away?
Yeah, no, it's not over yet. There's still some more freezing rain coming our way. One more note on the icing, too. Pat Dorst did a great story on the 6 o'clock show yesterday about the science of the de-icing. And if you have to wait 90 minutes, if you get any more additional icing, they just have to do it again because it creates a rough surface over the airplane, makes it less aerodynamic, and they can't fly that way. So just one of the headaches with airline travel right now. It's so heartbreaking. Not only are people not getting to see their friends and their family, and then they got to try to book a hotel and all that. So yeah, that is a rough deal. Okay, in Portland right now, we're still at 25 degrees, and there is precipitation falling again. It is freezing rain or freezing drizzle again over the Portland area. So we are not done, but this is a good sign. Our Lincoln City sky cam out at Chinook Winds Casino Resort, 53 degrees in the south wind. Now, it's going to be a while before we get to 53. But I do have numbers like that in the 7-day forecast. Sleet was the dominant precipitation that we got, and we're lucky that it was sleet at the onset and not freezing rain. And I say that because had it been just freezing rain, we would have ended up with glaze ice coating everything, and it would have been a lot more slippery. The sleet gave us some grit, gave us some traction, more like sandpaper as opposed to glass. And then even when the freezing rain fell into the sleet, we retained that rough surface, and it just made the traction better than it otherwise would have been. And it was a lot. We had a ½ an inch of sleet over the Portland area, and had that been just plain ½ inch of freezing rain, it would have been a lot worse. We're under a winter weather advisory right now, and that'll continue till 2 a.m. Then hopefully no warnings or advisories. But again, we've got more precipitation rolling into the coast right now. It's broken up, but we are going to see a little bit more icing, maybe not as much as what we've already had, but another 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch overnight tonight into the very early morning hours. I think by about 2, 3 a.m., much of the southern and western part of the Portland area will begin to get above. For areas north and east of downtown, it'll be tomorrow morning. Guys?
All right, thanks, Matt. Matt, I like how you described it earlier. You described it as sort of sandpaper versus glass. Getting the sleet at the beginning made a big difference in some spots. A little good news today, considering what are really still dangerous conditions in spots. We're seeing that most drivers seem to have heeded that warning and stayed off those roads.
Let's check in with Art Edwards. He's live for us along I-405 in Southwest Portland. Art, you've been chatting with the folks at ODOT, so how are things going?
Well, they think things are going reasonably well. You know, they do believe that the majority of people decided to take their advice and stay off the roads. You can see I-405 right here next to us, and there's very little traffic out there right now. And what is on the road right now is moving along reasonably well. So there aren't a whole lot of problems, at least along here. You know, ODOT has about 250 cameras that are spread out across the state to monitor road conditions and traffic. They can keep track of the roads just like this one, I-405. Keep an eye on it. It is done from what is called the Traffic Management Operations Center. That operation is staffed 24/7. Now, workers can monitor the road conditions.
All right. Okay. All right, looks like we lost Art there talking about the ODOT command center there. Let's just give you a quick check on power outages here, by the way, across our area. PGE right now, it's about 5,700 in the Portland region. Pacific Power looking about 3,000. Large part of those 2,500 out in the Astoria area. The bridge there over the river is still closed, by the way.